Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I thought I'd go over some prepping items that you need. If you look at the news, it's completely depressing. We can't let it get us down, but we need to be aware of what is going on. And that's why it's important that you do keep your finger on the pulse of society. What is going on? What are the challenges that people are facing? Just look at New York City. The borders are out of control, and now New York is complaining about the influx of migrants, which have been problematic in so many communities across our nation for such a long time. And now we look, there are gangs that are attacking the police, they're being arrested and released, and it's just simply out of control. How long until that might come to our community? That's a huge concern of mine. If violence is so out of control that people aren't even afraid to attack the police, and there appears to be limited consequences in some areas of our country. We also need to be concerned with the weather. Look at the California floods and mudslides. Look at the huge winter storms that have swept across Middle America into the Midwest and even into areas that don't normally have snow. They're facing a lot of winter storm warnings even late into the winter season. We know that inflation continues to go up and is a problem. Now there's a measles outbreak, and if you look at the job forecast, even companies like Google and Nike are laying off thousands of employees. It's a good time to inventory the supplies you have, load up while you can, and if you have any gaps, fill them in. And that's what I've been trying to do. Take an inventory, go over what do I have, where is it, do I still know how to use things, are any of them expired or out of date? Do I still know how to use some of the water filters and camp stoves, things like that. We need to know before it's an emergency. Now, this doesn't mean you have to do some great big huge project, but a little at a time. Go through each little section. Let's look, for example, at water. Do you have a nice stash of water? Is it fresh? Or any of the containers disintegrating, or you need to rotate water that you have filled up containers yourself? Look at your bleach. Do you have bleach that you could purify water if you ran out of the water that you've stored, or the water coming into your house is no longer safe to drink? Bleach doesn't last forever. It needs to be rotated. Make sure that your bleach is fresh. If you plan on purifying water with bleach, make sure that you have some eyedroppers. You need to be able to measure drops into the water so that you can purify it. Make sure you have some water purification tablets, something that you can drop into water, maybe a few portable water filters, or even a big Berkey. I have a big Berkey water filter that I purify the water in my home. There are all types of water purification systems, even as simple as a life straw. Make sure that you have something. If the water continues to flow into your house, but it is no longer safe to drink, do you have a way that you can purify it so you can continue to keep your family safe? Make sure that you have plenty of food. Have open and eat foods that you don't need to prepare anything at all. Have a stockpile of foods that you can easily put together and make meals. And then have a stockpile of the longest lasting foods. The beans, rice, pasta, oatmeal. The dried foods that you would need to add water and prepare. So you need to make sure that you have all types of different food. And who knows how long it might last. Spring is coming. Do you want to grow some of your own? Get some garden seeds, maybe a few garden tools, and even read up a little bit or speak with the neighbors. What kind of crops grow easily where you are? What do people put in their home gardens? And maybe you can try a little bit of gardening even if you've never done it before. What if the power goes off? Do you have a way to light your home? There are all types of different battery operated or solar lights that you can get so that you can continue to have safe light in your home. But along with that, you need to make sure that you're stocking up on the batteries that these items use. You don't want to be in a hardship situation and you find that you don't have enough batteries when you could have bought a few extra packs today. So look at the batteries that you use the most, stockpile those to go with the gizmos and gadgets that you already own. Maybe pick up a few more easy lights if you have a chance. Pick up a few extra candles, everything from tea lights to giant pillar candles. The more you have, the easier it's going to be to have what you need. But you need to remember that if you're lighting a flame, you need to be extremely cautious. Never leave it alone in a room. Don't walk away. And be extra careful around children and animals so that nothing gets knocked over and you create a huge problem. You can get even these little tiny tea lights. You can use an array of them to warm something up. You can use larger candles to light up your home in a power outage. You might even want to get some oil lamps. But the decision is yours to make now while those things are still available and you can still find them and stock up before it's critical that you have a lights out situation. Then you want to make sure that you have a way to light those things. I like the long utility lighters. Have lots of matches, and even the strike anywhere matches. These are harder to get. You can find the strike on the box, but if your box gets wet, you might have a problem. And if you have strike anywhere, even if the box gets disintegrated, you can still light these on a hard surface, and you can continue to build fires, light candles, use your camp stoves in any kind of time that you need to. If you have camp stoves, portable heaters, make sure that you have the fuel that goes with them. Do you use butane, propane? Have the containers, make sure that they're full. Even fill up your big gas barbecue grill so that in an emergency you could go out and cook on your barbecue. Sometimes we don't think about filling up our propane tanks until they're empty, but if you know that you've been using it, it's a great opportunity to take it off. Take it to the gas station that has the big white propane tanks, and you can get them filled there for approximately $3 a gallon. The price varies, but if you see one of those great big white tanks at a gas station, you can bring your own propane tank there and you can get it refilled. You don't have to go to one of those boxes where you exchange your tank, which is a lot more expensive. But if you can't find the big white propane, then make sure that you're still getting something. With warmer weather coming, maybe you want to make sure you have roach traps, mouse traps. Mosquito coils are something to think about if you want to clear an area. I've made a few videos on how you light these. You set them around your patio or your screen room or your campsite, and it clears the area and repels the mosquito. It's also a great idea to stock up on some mosquito repellent and maybe even some of the afterbite sticks, because sometimes they get you before you realize that they're there. I like the Terra Liquid ant traps. Ground is wet, but the temperature's warming up and ants might be seeking a way inside your home where it's drier and warmer. You put the Terra Liquid ant trap down, the ants swarm into it, they carry it back to the nest, and all of a sudden, boom, they're all gone. You've cleared up your problem with one little Terra Liquid ant trap. Look over your first aid supplies. Do you have a fresh bottle of alcohol or hydrogen peroxide? Do you have all the ointments and remedies that you need? Do you have vitamins going forward? How about the different kinds of over-the-counter medications for everything from a headache to a sore throat to indigestion or muscle aches and pains? Just like your prepping food supply, your medical supplies, if you use them, you need to rotate and then replace them so that you'll have them in the future going forward. Do you have rope? Rope is so handy, whether you want to make a shelter, put up a clothesline, tie up your dog, tie something down on your truck if you're going to the dump. There are a lot of reasons to have rope. Make sure you have some sturdy rope. Look over your tools. Do you have simple tools to repair things around your home? Do you have garden tools so you can start that garden you were thinking about? How about some simple pocket knives or multi-tools so that you can accomplish a lot of tasks? It's important that we know where our tools are, that we know how to use them, and then when you see something that needs to be repaired, don't panic, don't despair. Get out your tools and see if you can figure it out. Canning season is coming. Do you have the salt that you need, the lids for your jars? Do you need more jars? Do you need any kind of pickling spices, preserving items and doodads and gadgets? Look it over. Be sure that you collect those things as we come into the canning season so that you don't have an emergency that you have all this work to do and you don't have the correct supplies, or you find out that because it's canning season, they're sold out everywhere. If you pick things up a little at a time, then when the season comes, you're ready to preserve your bounty. Also think about if the water stops running and you need to do dishes, Do you have some paper plates, paper bowls, plastic cups? Do you have some disposable utensils? It's not something we want to use all the time, but in an emergency, we do need some disposable items. We don't want to use the only water that we have to wash dishes if water is limited while we're trying to feed our family. Look over items like your hot hands, your body warmers and hand warmers. They have a date on them. It doesn't mean they're expired, but you need to check it out. This one on the top is still flexible, so it's still good, but this one on the bottom is hard, so it's not going to be good anymore. So this needs to be replaced. So you want to be checking those before you need them. You want to protect your hand warmers and body warmers, foot warmers, from punctures. So it's best if you store them in a plastic bag, airtight container, so that you protect the package from getting a puncture, because once the air hits them, then they're going to just automatically start being used up and they're a single-use item. Once they heat up, then they're no longer useful again. You have to use them then, they're not going to be useful later. Look over your beverages. Do you have powdered milk, hot chocolate, tea, and coffee? Maybe you want to think about things like Ovaltine or Tang. Look at the drinks that you like. What kind of powders could you add into water or into milk if you want, so that you have something that's nutritious, delicious, and gives you a change of pace. You want to have the drinks that give you comfort, but you also want to have some that give you a variety. Then when you're thinking about food, think about flavorful condiments. You want to have spices, seasonings, mustard, ketchup, barbecue sauce, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce. Think about the flavorful condiments that you enjoy and how you can change up your meals even if they're just beans and rice. If you have some flavorful condiments, you can change the flavors so that your foods don't have the same exact taste every day, even if you're still having beans and rice. They can be a variety, which helps keep life interesting. These are some prepping items that you need. Load up while you can if you don't have them. If there's other items that you think are necessities in your stockpile, leave it in the comments below so it gives us the idea of we might want to have those things too. The more we share and discuss these things with each other, it helps us build the community so that we know we're not alone. We don't have to worry so much that we're facing an uncertain future that's scary and dangerous. We know there are like-minded people out there, and the more of us who prepare, the better off we're all going to be. I hope you'll like my video, share it with someone you think might enjoy it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.